Most men believe attraction is created through long talks, emotional explanations, or saying the perfect sentence at the perfect moment. Stoicism teaches something much more uncomfortable than that. Attraction is often decided in seconds, not through long conversations, and sometimes it takes only two words to shift the entire dynamic, not because the words themselves are special, but because of what they reveal about the man saying them. Most men talk too much when they want to be desired. They explain themselves, they reassure, they justify, they try to sound interesting, and they fill silence with effort. And while doing this, they reveal insecurity, attachment, and emotional hunger. The female mind is extremely sensitive to these signals. A woman is not pulled in by information, she is pulled in by position. Stoicism teaches that the strongest signal a man can send is not interest, but self command. When a man speaks from self command, even a small sentence feels powerful. When he speaks from need, even a long explanation feels empty. This is why some men say very little and still create strong curiosity, while others say everything and create none at all. The two words we are talking about here are not compliments, they are not flattery, and they are not manipulation. They are simple words that instantly communicate boundaries, confidence, and emotional independence. When spoken at the right moment, they change the dynamic without force or pressure. Most men misunderstand attraction because they think it is about adding something, saying more, showing more, giving more. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Attraction often grows when less is revealed, but more is implied. The female mind reacts strongly to contrast: calm versus chaos, certainty versus chasing, presence versus performance. When a man's words reflect calm authority instead of emotional urgency, curiosity turns on automatically. This is where many men sabotage themselves. They try to prove value, but value is never proven through words. Value is felt. Two words spoken from the right inner posture can communicate that your time matters, your attention is selective, and your approval is not freely given. This hooks interest not because a woman feels controlled, but because she feels emotionally challenged. This is not about scripts. It is not about clever lines or tricks. It is about understanding why short speech backed by certainty is far more powerful than effort backed by hope. When you understand this, you stop trying to impress and start positioning yourself naturally as the prize. If you have ever felt like you were saying too much and getting less in return, this principle explains why. Most men talk their way out of attraction. Silence paired with the right words creates curiosity. Stoic restraint turns simple language into strength. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, your presence becomes heavier. The first truth men must accept is that attraction does not respond to volume. It responds to weight. Stoicism teaches that words only matter when they are supported by inner certainty. When certainty is missing, men compensate by talking more, and the more they talk, the more they reveal emotional need. Most men believe silence is risky. They fear that if they do not explain, reassure, or entertain, interest will disappear. This fear pushes them into over-communication. They fill space with justification. They try to control how they are perceived through language. But in doing so, they remove mystery and replace it with predictability. A woman does not become attracted by knowing everything. She becomes attracted by contrast, the contrast between what is said and what is withheld. When a man speaks briefly and calmly, it signals that his emotional center is stable. His words feel intentional instead of reactive. That intentional quality creates curiosity. Stoicism teaches that self-command is felt before it is understood. When you say less, your tone, presence, and boundaries do more work than explanations ever could. This is why two words spoken from certainty can outweigh an entire paragraph spoken from need. Most men ruin attraction because they want to be understood. They want clarity. They want comfort. They want reassurance. But attraction does not grow in comfort. It grows in space. When you over-explain, you collapse that space. When you speak simply and stop, space returns. The female mind constantly scans for emotional leadership. Emotional leadership is not dominance or control, it is emotional stability. When a man is not afraid of silence, it shows he is comfortable with uncertainty. And comfort with uncertainty is a signal of strength. High value men understand this naturally. They do not rush replies. They do not chase explanations. They do not over-justify decisions. When they speak from alignment, not anxiety. That is why their words feel heavier, not because they are clever, but because they are grounded. Stoicism teaches restraint as power, restraint in emotion, restraint in reaction, restraint in speech. When speech is restrained, emotional leakage stops. Emotional leakage is what turns attraction into reassurance seeking. When leakage stops, curiosity begins. Another reason fewer words create attraction is because they force the other person to engage internally. When everything is explained, there is nothing left to think about. When something is stated simply and left alone, the mind fills the gap. Curiosity lives in that gap. This is why men lose attraction not by saying the wrong thing, but by saying too much too soon. Attraction does not respond to effort, it responds to presence. And presence becomes powerful when it is not diluted by unnecessary words. The two words themselves are simple and unimpressive on the surface. That simplicity is exactly why they work. Most men underestimate them because they are not emotional, flattering, or dramatic. Stoicism teaches that real power rarely announces itself. It reveals itself quietly through restraint. These words work because they communicate certainty without attachment, interest without need, and openness without surrendering control. When most men hear a question or suggestion, they feel pressure to answer quickly. They rush to agree, explain, or reassure. That urgency leaks need. The words we'll see do the opposite. They slow the moment down. They signal that your time, attention, and decisions are guided internally, not by emotional pressure. The female mind responds strongly to this because it creates uncertainty without instability. You are not rejecting her. You are not chasing her. You are not locking yourself in emotionally. You are holding your frame calmly. Stoicism teaches that holding your frame is the highest form of leadership in any interaction. Most men destroy attraction by trying to secure certainty too early. Certainty feels safe to them, but attraction survives on curiosity. We'll see keeps curiosity alive because it neither shuts the door nor throws it wide open. It leaves space. These words also communicate selectivity. They suggest that you consider alignment, timing, and priorities before deciding. A man who evaluates instead of reacts signals value naturally. This is not manipulation. It is self-respect spoken out loud. Another reason these words work is because they remove emotional pressure from the interaction. When a man agrees too fast or explains too much, expectations form immediately. The interaction becomes heavy. We'll see keeps things light while maintaining authority. Lightness mixed with strength is rare, and rarity creates attraction. Many men fear that saying this makes them seem uninterested. In reality, it makes them seem unavailable without being cold. Stoicism teaches that availability must be intentional. When everything is instantly available, nothing feels earned. Tone matters more than the words themselves. Will see must be spoken calmly without sarcasm, defensiveness, or explanation. It is not a way to dodge responsibility. It reflects a man who does not rush alignment. When spoken from calm certainty, it lands as confidence. These words also protect you. They prevent premature investment. They give you time to observe actions instead of believing promises. Stoicism teaches judging behavior, not words. These two words give you space to do exactly that. Their power is not in language. It is in philosophy. They represent a mindset that does not chase outcomes, does not fear loss, and does not hand over direction to emotion. When a man speaks from that mindset, even simple language carries weight. That is why interest is hooked, not because emotions are manipulated, but because emotional independence is displayed. However, these words only work when they are aligned with behavior. If a man says, "We'll see," but then immediately chases, explains, or seeks reassurance, the power disappears. Stoicism demands consistency between words and actions. If your life shows discipline, direction, and emotional control, these words feel natural. If your life shows chaos and need, they feel hollow. This is the deeper lesson. Attraction is not created by what you say. It is revealed by how you live. The less you chase, the more grounded you become. The less you explain, the more curiosity you create. When you stop trying to control outcomes, you start controlling yourself. And that is where real attraction begins. When you operate from Stoic self-command, your words no longer try to convince. They simply express alignment. Two words can shift a dynamic because they reflect a man who is not afraid to wait, not afraid to walk away, and not afraid of silence. That calm confidence is rare, and rarity is always attractive. Repetition alone is never what gives words their power. Real power comes from timing and intention. Stoicism teaches that even the strongest idea will fail if it is used without wisdom. When used correctly, these two words signal calm authority and emotional balance. When used carelessly, they come across as evasive, weak, or uncertain. Knowing the difference is critical. We'll see works best when momentum already exists, but clarity is being rushed. These are moments when expectations are being pushed forward too early. Questions like, what are we? Where is this going? Will you be there? Are you serious? Do you want more? These moments naturally create pressure, and pressure reveals emotional posture very quickly. Most men answer these moments from fear of loss. That fear leaks into their tone, their body language, and their explanations. When a man responds calmly with, "We'll see," he slows the interaction without shutting it down. He communicates that decisions come from alignment, not urgency. Stoicism teaches that the man who controls the pace controls the dynamic. Pace is leadership. However, these words can backfire when they are used defensively. If you say "we'll see" to avoid accountability, escape responsibility, or hide confusion, it will be felt immediately. Women are highly sensitive to emotional mismatch. When words do not match the inner state, attraction weakens instead of growing. The Stoic use of "will see" comes from certainty, not doubt. You are not unsure. You are not rushed. There is a major difference. Uncertainty sounds hesitant. Being unrushed sounds grounded. The same words can communicate opposite meanings depending on posture and presence. Another moment where we'll see works especially well is when expectations are placed on your time. Can you come tonight? Can you change your plans? Can you always be available? Many men say yes too quickly because they want to prove interest or avoid conflict. Stoicism teaches that time reflects value. We'll see protects your time without creating confrontation. It signals that your schedule is guided by purpose, not pressure. But if you use "will see" too often, it loses its strength. Men with value do not repeat phrases mechanically. They respond from principle. The phrase works because it is rare and aligned. When it becomes repetitive, it sounds scripted. Stoicism rejects scripts. It favors presence and awareness. Another mistake men make is adding explanation after saying "we'll see." The moment you explain, the power dissolves. Explanation reintroduces need. "Will see" must be allowed to stand on its own. The silence that follows is not awkward. It is deliberate space. Space creates curiosity. Stoicism teaches that the strongest communication often ends early. When you stop talking, the other person starts processing. Processing creates emotional involvement. Talking too much shuts that down. "Will see" should never be used to manipulate or keep someone hanging. A Stoic man values integrity. If alignment is missing, clarity eventually comes through action. The phrase is not avoidance, it is patience combined with observation. Used correctly, "will see" is not about control. It is about self-command. It shows that you do not rush intimacy, do not give up pace, and do not fear outcomes. This is why these two words only work when supported by character. Without character, they are empty sounds. With character, they carry weight. When spoken from the correct internal state, we'll see changes behavior without force. It removes emotional control from the interaction without creating distance. Stoicism teaches that the one who controls their reactions controls the dynamic. These words quietly reclaim that control. Most men try to influence behavior directly. They explain expectations. They offer reassurance. They negotiate outcomes. All of this places emotional pressure on the interaction and invites resistance. When you calmly say, "We'll see," and stop, the pressure disappears. There is nothing to push against, nothing to debate, nothing to manage. The female mind responds to this shift almost immediately, often without conscious thought. When emotional certainty is removed, curiosity turns on. Curiosity does not feel like pressure, it feels like movement. She starts paying closer attention. She notices consistency. She evaluates alignment instead of assuming access. Stoicism teaches that attraction deepens where freedom exists. We'll see creates that freedom. You are not promising. You are not withholding. You are allowing reality to unfold. That freedom is felt as confidence, not distance. Another important shift this phrase creates is reversed effort. When a man stops chasing clarity, the need for clarity moves to the other side. She begins to test gently. She asks different questions. She invests more emotionally to regain certainty. This is not manipulation. It is natural balance returning. Most men never experience this because they rush to fill every gap with reassurance. Gaps are where attraction grows. When you allow space, her mind steps into it. When you remove all space, nothing needs to move. We'll see also changes how you are perceived over time. You are no longer the man who rushes availability or commitment. You become the man whose choices are deliberate. Deliberate men feel rare. Rare men feel valuable. Stoicism teaches that value is not claimed. It is.